Let's give the choir another round of applause, please. All right. Turn my mic up just a little bit, a tad, please. All right, so here's how we're going to do it. It's the Sabbath. As usual, I'm going to do the Sabbath disclaimer, all right? So we'll know what we can and can't do. Then we're going to get into the explanation of the lesson. Then I'm going to give you the equipment for the lesson, all right? And we're going to cover multiple response strategies. First things first, it's the Sabbath of God. There is no buying or selling. There is no cooking. There is no doing your own pleasure, all right? It is a 24-hour period from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. It is supposed to be holy unto the Lord, all right? That being said, what you are supposed to do is come here, learn about this word, get some encouragement, ask somebody to pray for you, give a testimony of something good that happened this week, or maybe something you learned this week about the Most High. That is what we're supposed to do on this day. That being said, today's lesson, part 1, message to the evolutionists and the atheists. All right? This lesson is kind of a culmination of, I want to say maybe like 2 or 3 years. It kind of started at a Super Bowl party. And I was having a conversation with somebody, and they was telling me about everything. They don't believe in God anymore because everything looks like a fish in the womb in its embryonic stages based on Darwinism. And at that point, I didn't have a retort for him. My only retort was, they are not fish. We're human beings. What are you talking about? So that was the genesis of it. Then one of the brothers, Brother Lee, he kind of hooked me up with this. He was having a conversation, a back and forth with a atheist. So I said, okay, so let's explore. Long story short, it led me to kind of research this whole thing about evolution and atheism. And there's correlations between the two. And the bottom line to it is, it's fiction, in my opinion. It is actually it's a philosophy. Evolution is a philosophy. And what they've done is they've sold it to you like it is absolute truth. And it's not absolute truth. So what we're going to do, we're going to deal with the purest form of Darwinism or evolution. We're not dealing with neo-Darwinistic synthesis. We're not dealing with the stuff that came out later in the 70s and the 80s. No, we're dealing with the pure evolution doctrine that Darwin himself wrote in Origin of Species. All right? That being said, now, you guys got a handout sheet. This is your roadmap. All right? So when I refer to a handout, a number on the handout sheet, pull out your handout, look at it, say, okay, cool, I'm with you. That being said, multiple response strategies. Y'all already know the drill. If y'all with me, what you do? Thumbs up. All right. If you're not with me, you like, you like, eh. If you kind of don't understand, you like, dude, I need a little bit of help. Thumb to the side, like, help me out here. Eyes is lost, boss. So, that being said, you ready, brother? Yeah, I'm ready. Now, let's go to the reference sheet. Go to your handout sheet. Let's deal with the definition of Darwinism, Darwinian evolution. That is not you. I need one for this guy. Can someone bring me a sheet for this guy, please? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You want the staples or not staples? Okay. All right. So he's got his lessons. He's got the references here. The book is here. My lesson plan here. Now, reference number 1 on the handout. We're going with the definition of Darwinian evolution. All right? So this is what when you're dealing with an evolutionist, don't let them pull the wool over your eyes and slide to different parts of the conversation. Deal with them on Darwin's theory, okay? Brother, can you please read the definition of Darwinian evolution?
Darwinian evolution. Darwinian evolution is defined as natural selection using random mutation in an unintelligent, non-guided, random, purposeless manner.
Yes, come on.
It's purely for passing on genes for reproduction.
Stop. So off the rip, Darwinian evolution is, well, everything is accidental. There is no purpose. There is no guide to it, and you exist purely to pass your genes on, and that's it. The continuance of the human race is it. No grand scheme. Go ahead, my brother, please.
It's a mechanism for survival of species through survival of the fittest.
That's right.
In other words, human existence is purposeless.
Point blank, period. According to Darwin, that is what your life is. It is purposeless. It is random. It is just for you to be here and survive by any means that you see fit to do. Not cool, right? All right, now, let's reference. I have a reference sheet here. I'm going to give you guys the introduction to evolution. This came from, don't believe, listen, fact check. Evolution, the evolution site at Berkeley College, okay, .edu. Go to berkeley.edu, type in evolution in their search engines, you'll find this. Please read all that, brother.
Where was that? Right here?
Right here.
Okay. Definition?
Yes, sir.
An introduction to evolution. The definition. Biological evolution, simply put, is descent with modification.
Descent.
Descent.
Yes, sir. Come on.
This definition encompasses small-scale evolution, changes in gene frequency in a population from one generation to the next, and large-scale evolution, the descent of different species from a common ancestor over many generations.
Stop. Did y'all just hear that? Read that one more time, please.
Biological evolution, simply put, is descent with modification.
Come on.
This definition encompasses small-scale evolution, changes in gene frequency in a population from one generation to the next.
That's microevolution. That was entirely too much to put inside this lesson, so I omitted it. Go ahead, bro.
And large-scale evolution,
That's macro. Come on.
the descent of different species from a common ancestor over many generations.
The descent of different species from one common ancestor. Okay? Let that soak in for a second. So one thing, one common ancestor created not only human beings, but animals and plants. Don't believe me? Listen. Go ahead, bro.
Evolution helps us to understand the history of life.
Come on.
The explanation. Biological evolution is not simply a matter of change over time. Lots of things change over time. Trees lose their leaves.
Now, notice how they're trying to get you to agree with their proposition here. They're giving you things that are indeed observable in nature. Go ahead, bro.
Mountain ranges rise and erode.
Okay, that's cool. Go ahead.
But they aren't examples of biological evolution.
Come on.
Because they don't involve descent through genetic inheritance.
Come on.
The central idea of biological evolution is that all life on Earth shares a common ancestor.
Stop. Let that soak in. All life on Earth, plants, animals, humans, share one common ancestor. Go ahead.
Just as you and your cousins share a common grandmother.
Come on.
Through the process of descent with modification, the common ancestor of life on Earth gave rise to the fantastic diversity that we see documented in the fossil record and around us today.
We'll deal with the fossil record later on. Go ahead.
Evolution means that we are all distant cousins, humans and oak trees.
Hold on for 1 second. Did you just say humans and oak trees are cousins? Please read that again just so I know I'm not tripping.
Evolution means that we're all distant cousins, humans and oak trees, hummingbirds and whales.
So hummingbirds and whales, according to biological evolution, which is a subdivision within evolution, they're cousins, and you and I are all cousins to oak trees. So your great-great-great-great-grandfather was an oak tree. So much for furniture, right? All right, let's slide that underneath there, or flip it here so you don't grab the wrong thing. Now, here's the thing. Charles Darwin's observations of different kinds of animals on the earth is an entirely separate mechanism that is unassociated with the origin of the known universe. In other words, what Darwin was talking about did not cover how everything came about, nor human beings. Okay? I assert the God of Israel created and designed all things within the known universe by superior supernatural wisdom. Let's go to Romans 1. That's what I assert. I am not related to an oak tree. Whales and hummingbirds are not related. Everything after is what? Kind. Romans 1. One verse. Very tactical. Romans 1, one verse, verse 20. Let's see who the Bible says created everything. Go ahead, brother.
For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse.
So basically what the Bible's saying is, look, you know God exists from what you can see was created, including you. The matter, the energy, and material in the known universe bear witness of God's existence and his power. Let's go to Psalms 19. Darwinian evolution is just an observation of, I'm getting ahead of myself. And I am not here to try to destroy evolution. I mean, I think the evidence will deal with that. What I want to basically let everybody know, including evolutionists, is that it is a doctrine. It is a religious philosophy. That is what it is. Instead of you saying God created everything, instead of me saying God created everything, evolutionists are saying 16 billion years ago, nothing exploded and made something. Everything came from nothing. Let's go to Psalms 19 and see what the heavens do, what God's creation bears witness of. Psalms 19, we're going 1 through 2. Psalms 19, 1 through 2. Go ahead, my brother.
The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork.
Come on.
Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge.
So it says the heavens declare the glory of God. So when you look up in the sky and you ponder deep things like when you see the glory of the stars, you know that God exists unequivocally. Not they just self-manifested, and that in itself violates the first law of thermodynamics, which I omitted because it was a little too much stuff, okay? The God of Israel, being both designer and creator of everything, explains both the origin of the universe and the origin of life on the planet. So God's design covers two things: where everything came from and where we came from, and plants and birds, etc. Let's go to Genesis 1 and see it in action. Y'all with me? It ain't flying over your head or nothing, right? I tried to boil it down because there's a lot of stuff. Let's go to Genesis 1. Let us see the beginning. Now, there are some people that say God created everything in 6 24-hour periods. I don't believe that, because I know a day to the Lord is like 1,000 years. So what we're doing, or should I say what they're doing, is they're applying man's concept of time to an infinite being not bound by time. But I digress. Genesis 1. Let's see the creation. Let's see the heavens declare the glory of the Most High God that we serve. Genesis 1, let's go 1 through 30. Genesis 1, 1 through 30. Let's see if this is random, purposeless, random mutations, accidental, or let's see if this was actually constructed from an intelligent creator. Genesis 1, let's go 1 through 30. Go ahead, my brother.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Stop. When is in the beginning? I don't know. It's in the beginning. Verse 2, come on.
And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters.
Come on.
And God said, let there be lights, and there was light.
So God said, let there be light. Now let's see what the purpose of light is. Go ahead.
And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness.
Come on.
And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
Darwinian evolution does not account for the creation of the sun and the day and the night. Darwinian evolution does not account for that. Just so we're real clear. Go ahead, my brother.
And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters.
So now we're on a whole new trip. We see waters was there first. Now all of a sudden God put a firmament or a space in the waters. And what happened? Go ahead, brother.
And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so.
So now there's a space in between water, and there's water under this space, and there's water over this space. We're going to find out what this firmament or this space is. Go ahead, my brother.
And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day.
So now we got heaven. So when you die, is this the place you go to? Nah, I'm going to show you. Go ahead, my brother.
And God said, let the waters under the heaven be
Under the what?
under the heaven.
Come on.
Be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so.
So now we still have this space right here. We have water over this space right here, and we got land and water in this space right here. And the firmament is about this big, I'm thinking. This is just me supposing, okay? This is just me supposing. Go ahead. I got to be clear. Go ahead.
And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good.
Come on.
And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind.
After his what?
After his kind.
Come on.
Whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so.
So God said, okay, now that I have this ball and I've separated things out of this ball, quote unquote, now let me go ahead and bring forth vegetation on this ball. Now, let's think about it. Why would God put vegetation on this ball we call earth? It'll be revealed. Go ahead, my brother.
And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind.
After his what?
After his kind.
Come on.
And the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind.
Come on.
And God saw that it was good.
So now we see that trees have seeds so they can replicate themselves or their selves. Not, well, I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm gonna get control of myself. I'm getting too excited. Go ahead, brother.
And the evening and the morning were the third day.
Darwinian evolution does not account for this. It just deals with life after it's arrived. I'll prove it. Go ahead, brother.
And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years.
If everything was random according to evolution, then how come there are these specific heavenly bodies that do specific things, like give us warmth, like let us know when the winter is here or the summer is here, like give us waves? Now, bear in mind, the firmament, the water over the firmament, the land and the dry sea, the water and the seas and the earth under the firmament. Now, at this point, the firmament has gotten a little bit bigger, vertically and horizontally. I'm going to show you why. What's in the firmament that's called heaven? Go ahead, my brother.
And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so.
Come on.
And God made two great lights.
How many?
Two great lights.
Come on.
The greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also.
Wait, I thought an explosion made the stars and the moon and everything. According to what we just read, God made the stars also. So now in the firmament or the heaven, and you'll see this is the second heaven. Again, I didn't put this in the lesson because that would have been too much stuff. But in the second heaven, you have the moon, you have the stars, and you have the planet Earth literally resting in the second heaven simultaneously. Go ahead, my brother.
And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth.
To do what?
To give light upon the earth.
That's their specific purpose, to make the earth inhabitable. It's not random. It's not accidental. Go ahead, my brother.
And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good.
Now notice, God is so infinitely intelligent and incredible that we've actually been having days and nights without the sun and the moon. I don't know if y'all caught that. There was some kind of way to have day and night. Ask me how? I don't know how. I'm not God. All I can say is I can read day and night before there was lights to govern day and night. Go ahead, my brother.
And the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
Come on.
And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly.
Let the what bring forth?
Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven.
We have just confirmed that birds do fly in the open firmament of heaven. There are three heavens. Birds fly in one of the heavens, okay? But notice, water-dwelling animals and fowl came from the water at the request of God. Go ahead, my brother.
And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly, after their kind.
After their what?
After their kind.
Come on.
And every winged fowl after his kind.
Come on.
And God saw that it was good.
Come on.
And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day.
Come on.
And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind.
Now we got the earth bringing forth earth-dwelling or shore-dwelling animals. The sea brought forth the birds and fish, etc. Now the earth is bringing forth at the request of God. Not on its own, at the request of God. Go ahead, my brother.
Cattle and creeping thing, and the beast of the earth after his kind.
Come on.
And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good.
Now, according to evolution, we are all related to an oak tree. There was a common ancestor that created all of us. According to, now what makes more sense? That or God literally designated certain kinds and those kinds replicate after themselves? What makes more sense? An amoeba turned everything, an amoeba created everything, or an infinitely intelligent, all-wise being constructed everything according to what was necessary? I don't know. Sounds to me like I like this right here versus that my grandfather is a tree. Go ahead, my brother.
And God said, let us make man in our image.
Stop. Let who do what?
Okay. And God said, let us make man in our image.
Wait a minute, hold on. I thought it was only one God. So why is God saying let us make man in our? Us and ours, plural. We'll get to that in a moment. Go ahead.
After our likeness.
Come on.
And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
Us and our, the eternal Godhead, huh? Like we just read about in Romans, us and our, in our image, huh? But that's a different lesson. Verse 27, my brother.
So God created man in his own image.
Stop. It went from us and our to his. This is interesting. But that's another lesson. Go ahead.
In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them.
Come on.
And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing.
Just some things.
Every living thing.
Come on.
That moveth upon the earth.
Now, ponder this. Could this be the reason why human beings can literally control and subjugate animals that are way more dangerous than we are? Or is it just they haven't figured out yet that they're stronger and smarter than us and we're weaker than them? According to Darwin, it will probably be the latter. But according to the Bible, this is why we have dominion and control over animals that could destroy us at any given time. Anyway, I digress. Go ahead, my brother.
And God said, behold, I have given you every herb.
Wait, stop. Wait, God gave us some herb? Oh, I'm sorry. That's food. That's vegetables. I know how to rouse the fire. Every herb, mine. I'm sorry. Bear with me in my folly. Start at verse 29 again. Go ahead, brother.
And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of the tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat.
Go ahead.
And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so.
Now, all humans and animals at this point are herbivores. Notice scientists can name them herbivores after what they were supposed to eat, which was herbs. Science does get some things right. This is not to be anti-science. This is just anti-foolishness, all right? The bottom line is Darwinian evolution does not provide a plausible explanation for the origin of this universe, nor living matter coming from non-living matter. Okay? I'll say it again. It does not provide a plausible explanation of living matter coming from non-living matter. Now, don't believe me. I got a reference. This book is called Darwin on Trial. It is written by this guy named Philip E. Johnson. I'm going to read you his pedigree. Philip E. Johnson is a graduate of Harvard and the University of Chicago. He was a law clerk for the Chief Justice Earl Warren and has taught law for 20 years at the University of California, Berkeley. So he ain't no slouch, right? In the world, he's the man, right? Harvard-educated lawyer. Well, he wrote this book to actually basically take the questions of Darwin and answer them as if Darwin was on trial fighting for his life. So now, we got a reference. You guys don't have the reference, but hey, if you want this book, $4, all right? page 102. Now, there's a guy named Stephen Jay Gould. Stephen Jay Gould was an evolutionary theorist, a paleontologist, and a professor of geology at Harvard, all right? And he was a neo-Darwinian with degrees in both philosophy and geology, all right? This is what this guy, who was an adamant supporter of Darwin, said concerning Darwinian evolution and the origin of the universe question. You see the starts and the stops, just roll with them, brother.
Okay. Let me adjust this book.
No question. Take your time, my brother.
Okay, you ready?
Yes, sir.
In an article correcting Justice Scalia's misunderstanding, Good tried to set the matter straight. Evolution, he wrote, is not the study of life's ultimate origin as a path toward discerning its deepest meaning. Even the purely scientific aspects of life's first appearance on Earth belong to other divisions of science.
So he actually is saying Darwinian evolution does not explain the origin of the universe. He just said that. And he's an adamant supporter, an ardent neo-Darwinian evolutionist, right? He came up with a theory. Well, I'm not going to get into that. I'll admit it was too much. Go ahead, my brother.
Because evolution is merely the study of how life changes once it is already in existence.
So once it's in existence, then the theory of evolution in the purest sense deals with that. But prior to it coming into existence, Black Jeopardy. Go ahead, brother.
In fact, Justice Scalia used the general term evolution exactly as scientists use it, to include not only biological evolution, but also pre-biological or chemical evolution.
Stop. Pre-biological. So before anything that was biologically existence or in existence, they're trying to deal with that part. Okay, how do you deal with how do you just say it only deals with life after it comes here, but then somebody's trying to figure out how life is? Yeah, I'm confused. Go ahead, brother.
Which seeks to explain how life first evolved from non-living chemicals.
Huh?
Non-living chemicals.
Come on.
Biological evolution is just one major part of a grand naturalistic project.
Grand naturalistic project. Go ahead.
Which seeks to explain the origin of everything from the Big Bang to the present without allowing any role to a creator.
Wait, now say that part again.
Which seeks to explain the origin of everything from the Big Bang to the present without allowing any role to a creator.
Come on.
Yellow, right?
Keep going until you see. Oh, that's it. Stop. Now start there.
Okay. Speculation about pre-biological evolution began to appear as soon as the origin of species had made its impact with Darwin's German bulldog.
Come on.
Ernst Haeckel.
Ernst Haeckel was an ardent supporter of Darwinian evolution. Now, mind you, again, Darwin didn't deal with the origin of the universe, right? Ernst Haeckel did. He's the one that came up with these concepts. And lightweight, Charles Darwin kind of put a little stamp on it, lightweight. But I'll let you hear what his stamp was. Go ahead, brother.
Ernst Haeckel, taking the leading role at first. Darwin himself made a famous contribution to the field in an 1871 letter.
Come on.
It is often said that all the conditions for the first production of a living organism are now present, which could ever have been present. But if, and ow, what a big if.
So this is if. Darwin's like, but if this stuff happened, go ahead.
We could conceive in some warm little pond with all sorts of ammonia and phosphoric salts, light, heat, electricity, etc., present, that a protein compound was chemically formed, ready to undergo still more complex changes.
Wait, so you telling me we got this pond that came out of nowhere, basically, that had all these chemicals that, and you have to actually get from hydrogen to these chemicals, just so we all clear here, dealing with chemistry. So we got to get from hydrogen to these ammonia chemicals in this prebiotic soup, and then we get a protein that could possibly turn into the common ancestor. Okay, I'm just making sure. Go ahead, bro.
At the present day, such matter would be instantly devoured or absorbed, which would not have been the case before living creatures were formed.
But this is a living creature, so how could it be the case of a living creature that was before living creatures? I'm confused. Go to the start, please.
Okay. The basic difficulty in explaining how life could have begun is that all living organisms are extremely complex. And Darwinian selection cannot perform the designing even in theory until living organisms already exist and are capable of reproducing their kind.
So if the organism does not exist, if life does not exist, then Darwinian evolution really can't deal with that. Once life is here, then it can kind of explain it a little bit. Now, let's see if anyone has ever created life from these chemicals. Go ahead, brother. Yep.
The field achieved its greatest success in the early 1950s when Stanley Miller,
Come on.
then a graduate student in the laboratory of Harold Urey at the University of Chicago,
Come on.
obtained small amounts of 2 amino acids by sending a spark through a mixture of gases thought to simulate the atmosphere of the early Earth.
So what he did was he said, I'm going to actually imagine what the early atmosphere of the Earth was, and then I'm going to use electricity and these chemicals to get proteins to kind of prove Darwin's theory. But remember, Darwinian evolution is random, without intelligence, without purpose. Go ahead, brother.
Because amino acids are used in building proteins, they are sometimes called the building blocks of life.
Yes, they are. Come on.
Subsequent experiments based on the Miller-Urey model produced a variety of amino acids and other complex compounds employed in the genetic process, with the result that the more optimistic researchers concluded that the chemicals needed to construct life could have been present in sufficient abundance on the early Earth.
Could have been present, by the way. Could have been present 16 billion years ago. Drop down. Go ahead, brother.
The limited success of the Miller-Urey experiment occurred.
So there was success creating these little amino acids with these scientists in this laboratory. Go ahead.
Occurred in the years leading up to the Darwinian centennial celebrations in 1959.
Drop down to here.
Although some components of living systems can be duplicated with very advanced techniques, scientists employing the full power of their intelligence cannot manufacture living organisms from amino acids, sugars, and the like. How then was the trick done before scientific intelligence was in existence?
So scientists have yet to do this. Even with their intelligence, even with all their abilities, even with all the vast infinite knowledge, quote unquote, of mankind, scientists have not been able to do this. So how do you explain it? The only way I can see it makes any sense is reading this book right here from the person that actually did it. Now, on your reference sheet, I got the evolution question. This is the question I want y'all to ask every single evolutionist that you come across that wants to tell you about the Big Bang and everything else. Read the question, brother, on the handout sheet right there. We're done with this for now.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Imagine researching this stuff. Go ahead, brother.
It's right here, right?
Yes, sir.
This question reveals, it should be revealed.
Yeah, it should be.
This question reveals all assumptions made concerning evolution.
So this question right here will let you know the assumptions that everyone's making when it comes to evolution. Go ahead, brother.
Can you show me any observational evidence for evolution? One creature turning into a completely different creature that does not require me to use faith.
That's the simple question you ask them. Show me one observational evidence of evolution that does not require me to use faith. You're telling me about something that you weren't there, no one was there to document, that happened 16 billion years ago, so you say? Give me some evidence. Give me something I can see. Evolution requires faith or belief, point blank. It's a philosophical school. It does not explain the perfect tuning of the laws governing the universe, as we just read. So let's reference fine tuning. There's a concept called fine tuning. It basically states that everything in this universe was literally fine tuned so it could sustain human life and plant life. This is going to be tough for you.
No, this one right here.
That's one right there. That's it right there. This is the concept of fine tuning of the universe. Okay, go ahead.
Fine tuning and pointers to God. Fine tuning refers to the surprising precision of nature's physical constants, and the beginning state of the universe. Both of these features converge as potential pointers to a creator. To explain the present state of the universe, scientific theories require that the physical constraints of nature, like the strength of gravity, and the beginning state of the universe, like its density, have extremely precise values.
So in other words, gravity in the universe, the density of the universe has specific tuning or specific degrees. And if these degrees are off too far to the left or too far to the right, nothing exists. Go ahead, brother.
The slightest variation from their actual values results in an early universe that never becomes capable of hosting life. For this reason, the universe seems finely tuned for life. This observation is referred to as the anthropic principle.
Anthropic principle means that someone or something tuned the universe so perfectly that it's impossible to deny that it is tuned the way it is. Go ahead, brother.
A term whose definition has taken many variations over the years. Okay. Constants of nature.
Come on.
The fine tuning of the universe is seen most clearly in the values of the constants of nature.
So these are immutable laws of physics that govern the world and the universe that we live in. Go ahead.
There are many such constants, the best known of which specify the strength of the four forces of nature: the strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, the electromagnetic force, and gravity.
Come on.
If these forces took on even slightly different strengths, the consequences for life would be devastating.
In other words, if these four things were altered in any way, shape, form, or fashion, life would not exist. Go ahead, brother.
Two of these in particular, the strong and electromagnetic forces, are responsible for the unusually efficient production of carbon.
Carbon, everything on this planet that is alive is called a carbon-based life form. Carbon comprises all of us. Now let's see how carbon is tuned. Go ahead, brother.
The element upon which all known life is based.
Come on.
The forces cooperate in such a way as to create a coincidental match up of energy levels, which enables the production of carbon from the fusing of 3 helium atoms.
So it takes 3 helium atoms to make a carbon atom, 3 of them. And it's perfectly tuned for them to attract and bond. Why is that? Is it random? Go ahead, my brother.
For 3 helium atoms to collide and create carbon is very unlikely.
Come on.
However, because under normal circumstances, the energies would not match up perfectly, and the 3 helium atoms would come apart before they had time to fuse into carbon.
So the problem with under normal circumstances or normal conditions, 3 helium atoms would not come together and they would not form carbon under normal circumstances. Scientific investigation. I'm trying to show y'all this. Go ahead, brother.
It takes a little extra time to deal with the energy mismatch.
Come on.
But if there is a statistically unusual match of the energies, then the process is much faster.
Come on.
The slightest change to either the strong or the electromagnetic forces would alter the energy levels.
This is electromagnetic carbon resonance. This is how carbon is created and carbon is bonded and carbon is actually makes up every living thing. This is the principle of it. If anything was off, it wouldn't go down. Go ahead, my brother.
Resulting in greatly reduced production of carbon and an ultimately an uninhabitable universe. In the 1950s, Cambridge University astronomer Fred Hoyle recognized the precision of the energy matchup called carbon resonance.
By the way, this guy was an atheist before he found this out. Go ahead.
And made the following observation.
This is an atheist making this observation. Go ahead.
Where are we at?
We done?
Yeah.
Okay. And, here we go.
Okay.
3. There you go.
There are many other finely tuned constraints of nature besides the strength of these forces. Mm-hmm. Consider the ratio of masses for protons and electrons.
Wait, hold up. Back up. 1 second here. There we go. Let's get his comment. I'm sorry. Here's his comment, please, right there. This is the atheist physicist who dealt with the magnetic resonance of carbon. Once he figured it out, this is what he said about it. Go ahead.
A common sense interpretation of the facts suggests that a super intellect has monkeyed with physics as well as with chemistry and biology, and that there are no blind forces worth speaking about in nature. The numbers one calculates from the facts seem to me so overwhelming as to put this conclusion almost beyond question.
So what this guy, who is a physicist, when he found out about the magnetic resonance of carbon, he said it looks like something or someone created everything and the laws that govern everything in the universe. You see this? And this is biologos.org, by the way. Fact check. Don't take my word for it. 3, please. Go ahead, brother.
There are many other finely tuned constants
Yes.
of nature besides the strengths of these forces. Consider the ratio of masses for protons and electrons as a final example.
These are masses, the weights of protons and electrons. Go ahead, my brother.
The mass of a proton is roughly 1836.1526 times the mass of the electron.
Same thing he just said. Go ahead.
Where this ratio changed by any significant degree, the stability of many common chemicals would be compromised. In the end, this would prevent the formation of such molecules as DNA, the building blocks of life. But with regard to the development of life on Earth, it is sometimes claimed that natural selection would find a way for life to develop no matter what the circumstances.
Natural selection, y'all. Hooray! Go ahead.
In this way, nature is sometimes said to tune itself. However, the fine tuning of carbon is even responsible for nature's ability to tune itself to any degree.
So carbon, the tuning of carbon, even if you want to give them that about nature tuning itself, you still have to figure out who tuned the magnetic resonance of carbon so nature can tune itself. You done? Mm-hmm. All right. Now, what does explain fine tuning? Darwinian evolution does not. Let's go to Job, and I'm going to let God ask the questions to actually tell you about fine tuning. Now that we know about the magnetic resonance of carbon and 3 helium atoms and all that other stuff, now that we know about that, how did that happen? Let's go to Job 38. Y'all with me? All right. I don't want to fly over y'all heads. Look, it was a lot of stuff that I distilled down. It was a whole lot of stuff. Job 38, we're going to dance with the stars. We're going 4 through 6, and we're going to dance with the stars. Again, evolution is a philosophy, and I'm going to show you the evidence that they use to say it's not. And we'll see if we can figure out by this evidence what it is. Job 38, we're going 4 through 6, and we're going to dance. Go ahead, my brother.
Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding.
Stop. Let me pretend everybody does not know what's going on here. Job has been his friends, Job suffered catastrophic losses. This is the abridged version. Job suffered catastrophic losses. His friends came to console him, make him feel better, but in the end they wound up accusing him of secretly sinning. After about Lord knows how long that those accusations flew at Job, Job got tired and started saying, look, I don't deserve none of this. Why y'all tripping on me? Why is God doing this to me? Then at that moment, God was like, yo. And start at verse 4 again, brother. This is God going, yo. Go ahead.
Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding.
He's talking to Job. Go ahead, brother.
Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hath stretched the line upon it?
Sounds like fine tuning to me, does it not? Verse 6, come on.
Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof?
Skip down to verse 8. Verse 8, come on.
Or who shut up the sea with doors when it brake forth, as if it had issued out of the womb?
Come on.
When I made the cloud the garment thereof, and thick darkness a swaddling band for it.
Come on.
And break up for it my decreed place, and set bars and doors.
The Lord is saying, look, I set restraints or constraints on the oceans. This is fine tuning. This is not random. This is the voice of someone with knowledge of the creation of earth. Go ahead, my brother.
And said, hitherto shalt thou come, but no further. And here shall thy pond ways be stayed.
Skip down to verse 16. Verse 16. Go ahead, brother.
Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea? Or hast thou walked in the search of the depths?
Stop. Did y'all know that the ocean has springs that feed it? Did y'all know that? Now, my question is, how some dude in the desert 4,000 years ago pondering this stuff to even write this stuff? I mean, was he doing it in the middle of shucking some corn or picking up sheep crap? I mean, when do you have time to ponder stuff like this? Y'all with me? Come on, brother.
Have the gates of death been opened unto thee? Or hast thou seen the doors of the shadow of death?
I don't want to see that. Come on.
Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare if thou knowest it all.
Come on.
Where is the way where light dwelleth? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof?
Notice it says the way of light. Light constantly moves. It's not stationary. Darkness is stationary. The speed of darkness is 0. The speed of light is blah, 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 blah. Go ahead.
That thou shouldest take it to the bound thereof, and that thou shouldest know the paths to the house thereof.
Skip down to 24. Verse 24. Sounds like fine tuning to me. Go ahead, brother.
By what way is the light parted, which scattereth the east wind upon the earth?
Stop. Wait a minute. Hold up. By what way is the light parted, which scattereth the east wind upon the earth? Am I reading that light causes wind? Is that what I'm reading? Go to your reference. Let's see if we both reading the same thing. Reference 3 on your handout sheet. Reference 3 on your handout sheet. What causes wind to blow? Reference 3 on your handout sheet. Please read that, brother.
Wind reference. What causes the wind to blow?
Come on.
As the sun warms the earth's surface, the atmosphere warms too. Some parts of the earth receive direct rays from the sun all year and are always warm. Other places receive indirect rays, so the climate is colder. Warm air, which weighs less than the cold air, rises. Then cool air moves in and replaces the rising warm air. This movement of air is what makes the wind blow.
So light heats up the air and makes the air move with the replacement of cooler air. Again, some dude in a desert 4,000 years ago is talking about light making wind. Why is he talking about this? What's the I promise I wouldn't have been talking about that. I'd have been like, where are my camels? Y'all feel me? Go ahead, brother. Verse 25. Come on.
Who have divided a water course for the overflowing of waters, or a way for the lightning of thunder?
Skip down to verse 29. This is fine tuning in Job in 4,000 years ago. Go ahead, brother.
Out of whose womb came the ice, and the hoary frost of heaven, who hath gendered it?
Who created cold ice? Who made that? Go ahead.
The waters are hid as with a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen.
Wait, hold up. Stop. The waters are hid as with a stone. Is that an iceberg I'm reading about? Why is my man talking about icebergs? And he's in the desert 4,000 years ago. He's talking about icebergs like he's seen them. Y'all ain't with me. This is awesome to me. This is fine tuning. Go ahead, my brother.
Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion?
These are solar systems he's talking about. Solar systems and whatnot. Go ahead.
Canst thou bring forth Mazaroth in his season? Or canst thou guide Arcturus with his sons?
In question and answer, don't ask me who Mazaroth is. I will not know. Verse 33, come on.
Knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set the dominion thereof in the earth?
Now, those are awesome questions for God to be asking a human being who is basically saying, I don't have no cause to be treated like this. But more importantly, I want y'all to understand this is fine tuning of the conditions of this planet and universe. That's what that is. It is not random. It is not accidental. It is not, well, I don't know how it happened. No, I'll tell you how it happened. It happened because God did it. I can read about it. Speaking of the ordinances of heaven, let's go to Job 26. Y'all with me? All right, I like Tums mine. Show me a Tums mine. That's a Jamaican police officer. Job 26. Speaking of the ordinances of heaven, watch this. When I read this, this almost killed me, literally. Job 26, we're going 6 through 10. That's a typo. We're going 6 and 7, and then we're going to skip down to 10, more specifically. That was a typo. This is called the 3 o'clock in the morning action right here. Job 26, we're going 6 and 7, and we're going to skip down to 10. Speaking of the ordinances or the rules and regulations that govern the heavens or the second heaven. Go ahead, my brother.
Hell is naked before him, and destruction hath no covering. He stretcheth out the north over the empty place, and hangeth the earth upon nothing.
Read that again, please.
He stretcheth out the north over the empty place, and hangeth the earth upon nothing.
One more time, brother.
He stretcheth out the north over the empty place, and hangeth the earth upon nothing.
Now, I'm not going to Steven Spielberg you and tell you that I know what the north is. I can make a grand assumption. But I don't have to be Steven Spielberg to know what the second half of that verse says. It says, he, God, hangs the earth on nothing. Now, y'all got to tell me how a man 4,000 years ago in the desert, before Copernicus, before Galileo, before telescopes, knew what the earth looks like standing on the earth, but we're looking down on the earth from space. Y'all got to tell me that. When I read that, I was like, that is the Most High God. That is the God that I serve. That is the God we all serve. He's letting us know. He's letting us know he exists in his instruction manual. I hope y'all with me. Skip down to verse 10, please. Go ahead, brother.
He hath compassed the waters with bounds until the day and night come to an end.
This is the 8th day, but that's a whole nother lesson. The God of Israel is still managing and creating in real time. People want to act like, well, he made everything and now he's at a barbecue hanging out. No, he still has an innumerable amount of angels governing everything. Why do angels have jobs? Why did he make them all? They're there for a purpose. The purpose is to carry out his instructions to govern what's going on. Let's go to Job 37. He hangs the earth on nothing. Evolutionists got to explain that one to me, man. Atheists, they got to let me know what's popping with that. How did that primitive man know what the earth looks like off the earth? How do you know what the earth looks like in deep black space hanging there? Please. Job 37. That is a mouthful. I shared that verse Friday with this cool cat. No, Thursday with this cool cat. Peeled his wig back. He's like, man, why you show me that? That messed me up. What? Hey, mess me up too. It should mess everybody up. Job 37. We're going 23 and 24. What does all this fine tuning and all this creation tell us about God, man? What does it tell us? I'm going to let him tell you what it tells us. Go ahead, my brother.
Touching the Almighty, we cannot find him out. He is excellent in power and in judgment, and in plenty of justice he will not afflict.
Come on.
Men do therefore fear him. He respecteth not any that are wise of heart.
That's an absolute statement. If you're wise in your heart, if you think you something, not saying don't have self-confidence, that ain't what I'm saying. But if you think you're better than, and you think you smarter than God, he ain't gonna respect you. I didn't write it. Ecclesiastes 1. Let's go back to the fine-tuning principle. I'm trying to reinforce this to you. Darwinian evolution does not account for the fine-tuning of everything in the universe. It only deals with life after it comes here. And even when it comes here, it still falls short. Ecclesiastes 1, we're going 5 through 7. Ecclesiastes 1, again, we're dealing with the fine-tuning principle of the universe. It ain't random. Ecclesiastes 1, and we're going 5 through 7. Go ahead, my brother.
The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose.
Come on.
The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits.
Please read verse 6 again, sir.
The wind goeth toward the south,
Up.
and turneth about unto the north.
So it goes down, then it goes up. Go ahead.
It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits.
Now, you remember what we just read about light causing the wind to activate and move around? There's these things called trade winds. This is trade winds right here. Don't believe me. Write down trade winds. Google it. Learn something. Verse 7, brother. Go ahead.
All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full.
Stop. Let that soak in. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not overflowing, and it doesn't move past the boundaries that God set. I don't know if that's maybe, some kind of Darwinian mechanism can explain that. I'm not sure. Go ahead, my brother.
Unto the place from whence the rivers come, thither they return again.
This is an ecosystem, a perfectly designed ecosystem where the winds are constantly keeping us cool and everything else. Let's revisit the trade winds. Trade winds are called trade winds because at certain points of the year, people would jump on ships and go trade, and the wind would carry them, and then it would carry them back. Let's go to Psalms 104. Again, fine-tuning of the universe. That is not explained by Darwinian evolution. What does survival of the fittest have to do with the wind being created by light? Nothing? That should be the resounding answer from you dudes out there. Psalms 104. What does passing on genes have to do with the earth hanging in space? I'm trying to figure it out. Because if this ain't true, then there's some crazy stuff that I should be doing right now. Let's go to Psalms 104. If it's all about survival at any means, then I should be doing survival of my life at any means right now. If that's what it's all about. Psalms 104. Psalms 104. 1 through 2, and we're going to dance with the stars. Go ahead, my brother.
Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, thou art very great.
Yes.
Thou art clothed with honor and majesty.
Come on.
Who coverest thyself with light as with a garment? Who stretches out the heavens like a curtain?
Stop. Go back to verse 2, please. Verse 2 again, please.
Who coverest thyself with light as with a garment?
This is God, but what does he also do?
Who stretches out the heavens like a curtain?
In your reference. Get your reference sheet out. Reference number 4. That verse just said, God stretches out the heavens like a curtain. Okay, so picture this curtain and just picture it just stretching out, right? Scientific proof that our universe is still expanding, per what this verse just said. Please read it, brother. Right here. Yes, sir.
Scientific proof of our universe still expanding.
Come on.
Some years later, in 1925, the American astronomer Edwin Hubble stunned the scientific community by demonstrating that there was more to the universe than just our Milky Way galaxy.
Come on.
And that there were, in fact, many separate islands of stars, thousands, perhaps millions of them, and many of them huge distances away from our own.
Come on.
Then in 1929, Hubble announced a further dramatic discovery which completely turned astronomy on its ear.
So this is unheard of that we have a galaxy that has more than one galaxies in it, okay? This has been postulated, but he saw through a telescope and actually proved it unequivocally. Hubble is the guy that made the Hubble telescope. Hubble was a guy who was at Caltech in Pasadena. Caltech is supposed to be some really brainiac people at Caltech, right? So he's one of those real brainiac people at Caltech. And as a matter of fact, he disproved, and I omitted this, but he disproved Einstein's theory of general relativity. The constant that Einstein used was a fraudulent constant. But I omitted that because that's kind of like, anyway, go ahead, my brother.
With the benefit of improved telescopes, Hubble started to notice that the light coming from these galaxies was shifted a little toward the red end of the spectrum due to the Doppler effect, known as redshift.
So we'll deal with redshift in a moment, but there's a principle called redshift that dictates how light travels and the spectrum of light, the colors the speed in which it travels is dictated by the spectrum of light phase that it leans towards. Go ahead, my brother.
which indicated that the galaxies were moving away from us.
The galaxies were doing what?
Moving away from us.
Moving away from us. The galaxies are moving away from us. Go ahead, brother.
After a detailed analysis of the redshifts of a special class of stars called Cephids,
That sounds good to me. Come on.
which have specific properties, making them useful as standard candles or distant markers.
So he found some stars that he could actually measure the distance using these stars as a street light or a marker. So these Cephids is how he actually figured out what he's figuring out. Go ahead, my brother.
Hubble concluded that the galaxies and clusters of galaxies were in fact flying apart from each other at great speed, and that the universe was therefore definitively growing in size.
Stop. Let that soak in. He stretcheth out the heavens like a curtain. Hubble was talking about the universe still expanding and growing. It's still being stretched out in real time. Go ahead, my brother.
In effect, all the galaxies we see are slightly red in color due to redshift.
Come on.
Hubble showed that in our expanding universe.
What kind of universe?
Expanding universe.
Come on.
Every galaxy is rushing away from us with a speed which is in direct proportion to its distance, known as Hubble's law.
This is an immutable law that he utilizes to come up with this equation to prove that our universe is still expanding, per what God just said, a couple of thousand years ago. Go ahead, brother.
So that a galaxy that is twice as far away as another is receding twice as fast. 10 times as far away if receding 10 times as fast.
I'm not an astrophysicist, so that sounds like blah, blah, blah. Go to the principle of redshift right there. 4A. We're going to explain, let this explain the principle of redshift. Go ahead, brother.
The principle of redshift. In astronomy, when matter moves away from an observation point, its light spectrum displays a redshift.
Come on.
A redshift is one type of Doppler effect, named for Austrian physicist Christian Johann Doppler.
Doppler is how you actually get those wonderful weather reports. This is how you get the weather reports. This is how you can actually track movement of storm systems and everything and wind patterns. They can actually use this effect to track light in space. Go ahead, brother.
This principle states that if a light or sound source is moving away from a given point, its wavelengths, distant between two peaks of a wave, will be lengthened. Conversely, if an object emitting light or sound is moving toward that point, its wavelengths will be shortened.
Come on.
With light, longer wavelengths stretch to the red end of the color spectrum, while shorter wavelengths bunch up at the blue end. The shortening of the wavelengths of an approaching object is called a blue shift.
This is off of scienceclarified.com. Don't believe me? Fact check. Don't believe what I'm saying. Now, back to the book. Skip down to verse 5. Verse 5. So we just proved unequivocally the universe is still expanding, per what God said. Verse 5, my brother.
Who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever?
Come on.
Thou coverest it with the deep as with a garment. The waters stood above the mountains.
So he's saying that the waters that are on the earth, that cover 70% of the earth, is like the earth's clothing. And he also said the waters stood above the mountains. We'll get to those waters above the mountains in a moment. Go ahead, my brother.
At thy rebuke they fled. At the voice of thy thunder they hasted away.
Come on.
They go up by the mountains. They go down by the valleys unto the place which thou hast founded for them.
This is water, mind you. Come on.
Thou hast set a bound that they may not pass over, that they turn not again to cover the earth.
Read that again, please.
Thou hast set a bound that they may not pass over, that they turn not again to cover the earth.
This is water set by a bound from God. This is fine-tuning of the universe, fine-tuning of the earth in the Bible, written thousands of years ago before people even analyzed this stuff. Who knows? I don't know. It just makes me happy. I'm sorry. Verse 10, my brother. Verse 10. Go ahead.
He sendeth the springs into the valleys, which run among the hills.
Skip down to verse 13. Verse 13. Go ahead.
He watereth the hills from his chambers. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of thy works.
Yes, it is. Come on.
He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth.
That's why we have food. God grows it. from the rain that is caused by God. Go ahead.
And wine that maketh glad the heart of man, and oil to make his face to shine, and bread which strengtheneth man's heart.
Hey, thank God for wine. Go ahead.
The trees of the Lord are full of sap.
Yes.
The cedars of Lebanon, which he hath planted.
Come on.
Where the birds make their nest. As for the stork, the fir trees are her house.
Do you guys see the symbiotic relationship of nature? In other words, interdependency between things in his universe. Birds need trees. Trees need humans. Humans need trees and plants because there's respiration. There's oxygen and carbon dioxide. Is it dioxide? Carbon dioxide. Trees respirate carbon dioxide. Trees, we respirate carbon dioxide. The trees breathe in the carbon dioxide and they breathe out oxygen. We breathe in oxygen, carbon dioxide, oxygen. Symbiotic relationships, fine tuning of the universe. This is God. This ain't random. Go ahead, my brother.
The high hills are a refuge for the wild goats.
Come on.
And the rocks for the conies. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down.
Come on.
Thou makest darkness, and it is night, wherein all the beasts of the forest do creep forth.
Praise the Lord for night, that the beast ain't really out running around in the daytime. So it's set to where when we in the house chilling, the beast is out creeping, right? Go ahead, my brother.
The young lions roar after their prey and seek their meat from God.
From who?
From God.
Wait, interesting. 22.
The sun ariseth, they gather themselves together and lay them down in their dens.
Then what happens when that happens? Go ahead.
Man goeth forth unto his work and to his labor until the evening.
Come on.
O Lord, how manifold are thy works. In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches.
In wisdom, God created and fine-tuned everything. In wisdom. This ain't Darwinian random natural selection. It just happened by accident and we can't really explain or hope to have anything. No, this is the Lord God Almighty, mighty in battle, that does this. Verse 25, brother.
So is this great and wide sea, wherein all things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts.
Even in the ocean, there are still animals and beasts that we ain't seen yet. If y'all get some time, look up cryptozoology. You'll see something interesting with cryptozoology. I left that out too much. Speaking of great beasts, let me deliberately trap myself so an evolutionist or an atheist can be mad at, can say, see, that's why I don't like the Bible. So I'm about to trap myself. Let's go to Job 39 real quick. I got to trap myself. See, when I put these lessons together, I have to debate myself. It's very therapeutic. Let's go to Job 39. Speaking of great beasts, let's see what's popping with this great beast. Job 39, we're going 5 through 7. Job 39, 5 through 7. I'm sorry, 5 through 10. 5 through 10, I'm sorry. Job 39, 5 through 10. Speaking of great beasts, go ahead, brother.
Who hath sent out the wild ass free? Or who hath loosed the bands of the wild ass?
God does it. Come on.
Whose house I have made the wilderness, and the barren land his dwellings. He scorneth the multitude of the city, neither regardeth he the crying of the driver.
Come on.
The range of the mountains is his pasture, and he searcheth after every green thing.
Come on.
Will the unicorn be willing to serve thee, or abide by thy crib?
See, that's why I don't like the Bible. It's got unicorns in it, man. That's a fairy tale, man. Why would I read that? Unicorns? Go ahead, brother.
Canst thou bind the unicorn with his band in the furrow, or will he harrow the valleys after thee?
See, fun, I was enjoying the lesson until you read about the unicorns, bro. I'm back to my original position that unicorns in the Bible's gotta be fake. Unicorns? Well, let's go to reference 5. Let's do that. Reference 5 on your handout sheet. Brothers and sisters, what is a unicorn in the Bible? Go ahead, my brother.
What is a unicorn? Scientific name, Rhinoceros unicornis.
Wait a minute. Rhinoceros unicornis. That don't sound like no horse. Go ahead, brother.
Common names, English, Indian rhinoceros, greater one-horned rhino, great Indian rhinoceros.
Come on.
French,
Rhinoceros unicorne de land. Spanish. Rhinocante unicorno indico. Go ahead. Thank you.
Scientists today often use the word unicorn.
Wait, who uses the word unicorn?
Scientists.
Oh, well, if scientists is using it, then it's probably good then. Mr. Evolutionist, read that again, please.
Scientists today often use the word unicorn when referring to either the Asian one-horned rhinoceros or the Javan rhinoceros.
I didn't know Javon had a rhinoceros. Go ahead. Go ahead, bro.
If you do any research online, you'll find scientists often calling them unicorns.
Go ahead.
The Asian one-horned rhinoceros is also known as the Indian rhinoceros and also as the greater one-horned rhinoceros.
Come on.
There is an extinct species of a giant one-horned rhinoceros called
Oh, boy.
Elasmotherium
Yeah.
sibericum.
Very good, sir. Very good Latin. Go ahead.
Also known as the big horned rhinoceros.
Come on.
Scientists today often refer to this creature as the giant unicorn.
Now let's go to the next reference right underneath that. Biblios. Let's get the Biblios. Go ahead, brother.
Where's it at?
Bam.
Here, okay.
Come on.
In several passages, Numbers chapter 23, verse 22, and chapter 24, verse 8, Deuteronomy chapter 33 and 17, Job chapter 39, 9 through 10, Psalms chapter 22, verse 21, 29 and 6, Isaiah chapter 34, verse 7.
Come on.
The King James Version of the Bible mentions a unicorn. The original Hebrew is the word re'im, which was translated monokeros in the Septuagint and unicornis in the Latin Vulgate.
So in the Septuagint, it's mono, meaning one, monocorius, and in the Septuagint, it is unicornis in the Latin Vulgate. Go ahead, brother.
Later versions use the phrase wild ox. The original Hebrew word basically means beast with a horn.
Now, our modern day unicorn horse strawberry shortcake thing came way after this. Latin is talking about when the brothers translated it, they was like, well, what's the biggest one-horned monster I could think of? All right, I'll take that. But in all honesty, it just meant beast, big old beast with a horn. It sure didn't mean strawberry shortcake fairy dust. You dig? Y'all with me on the... Cool, I see some thumbs. Now let's go to Ecclesiastes 11, 4 through 5. Y'all with me? Y'all understanding? Y'all believe evolution is doing all this stuff, or... Right. But see, Font, you spinning it because you ain't gave us no real good evidence for evolution. All right, I'll get to that. Ecclesiastes 11, 4 through 5. Again, let's talk about God. Come on, brother.
He that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap. As thou knowest not what is the way of the Spirit, nor how the bones do grow in the womb of her that is with child. Even so, thou knowest not the works of God, who maketh all.
Who maketh some.
Make it all.
Speaking of bones, you know, evolution, descent with modification, natural selection, random mutations, common ancestor, my great-great-great-grandfather was a tree. Go to your reference sheet. Reference sheet 6. Let's ask the $1 million fossil question. Anytime somebody comes at you with a fossil and they trying to hit you upside your head with a fossil, this is the question I want you to ask them. Can you read 6A, brother? The $1 million fossil question, and what is that question?
Okay. How much of the fossil was actually found, and how much was added by an artist?
Read that one more again.
How much of the fossil was actually found, and how much was added by an artist?
Now, why am I asking y'all to ask them about that? All right? Let's see some fossils that popped up, and all of a sudden it became the rage of the world, and later on we'll see what happened. 6B, Nebraska Man. Read about Nebraska Man, brother. Go ahead.
Nebraska Man debunked, 1922, 1928.
Come on.
In 1922, a single molar tooth was found and named Hesperopithecus.
Stop. What was found? What was found, y'all? One tooth. All right, one tooth. Y'all, one toothus. Y'all ready? Go ahead and read, brother.
Or Nebraska man. An artist was told to make an ape man, pictured based on the tooth, which went around the world. Nebraska man was a key evidence at the Scopes trial in July 1925. The evolutionists had little else to offer.
Stop. The Scopes trial was a little bit beyond the scope of that, so I omitted it. But again, what was found, y'all? A tooth. So all of a sudden they found a tooth. It turns into, go ahead, brother. Keep reading.
Grafton Smith, one of those involved in publicizing Nebraska man, was knighted for his efforts in making known for this fabulous find.
Let's stop right there for 1 second here. So my man, he gets a knighthood, a knightship from the queen because he publicized and popularized Nebraska man. Do y'all see the powers that are literally behind the scenes promoting this though? I don't think y'all caught that. The behind the scenes, they pushing this joint because they want to get rid of the omnipotent power of our God. Keep reading, my brother.
When paleontologists returned to the site in 1928, they found the rest of the skeleton.
Come on.
And discovered the tooth belonged to an extinct pig. In 1972, living specimens of the same pig were found in Paraguay.
So, just let's recap that, ladies and gentlemen. So we found one tooth. One tooth was actually rendered and turned into a ape man that flew around the world for 50 or so years, and then in 1972 they went back to the same site where Nebraska man was found and found a dang on dead pig, which they thought was extinct, and then they found the actual pig in Paraguay. So what is the $1 million fossil question? I ask y'all again. The fossil question is, how much of the fossil was found, and how much was an artist rendering or drawn by an artist? Watch their face go, I never thought of that. Now, there are fossils that have been found throughout the world. What does the fossil record have evidence of, or what does it provide evidence of really? Okay? Because there's been a gang of fossil hoaxes throughout the world. And you don't got to trust me, fact check. Go behind me, do your own research. I'm going to show you what the fossil record really bears witness of. Go to Psalms 95. Evolutionists, they love the fossil record. They love it, they yub it, they yub it. Like the little homegirl used to say when she was 7 years old. They yub it. But the problem is, you'll see what the fossil record really is telling y'all. Psalm 95, we're going 3 through 5. What is the fossil record really evidence of? Psalms 95, we're going 3 through 5. Go ahead, my brother.
For the Lord is a great God and a great king above all gods.
Stop. Absolute true statement. Go ahead, brother.
In his hand are the deep places of the earth. The strength of the hills is his also.
Stop. In his hands are the deep places of the earth. Go ahead, brother.
The sea is his, and he made it, and his hands formed the dry land.
Read that again, brother.
The sea is his, and he made it, and his hands formed the dry land.
Let's go to Genesis. The seas? Well, I thought we were talking about the fossil record. Fine. What does the seas got to do with anything? Let's go to Genesis 5. Let me show you what the fossil record is really evidence of. I'm sorry, Genesis 6. Genesis 6. Must be cool to be a person who deals with fossils. All you got to do is find a half of a bone and you get a knighthood. Shoot. Where's that? Where can a brother get some of that? Bring up a chicken bone. Next thing you know, shoot. Get a Maybach off a chicken bone, huh? We just love you. You know what? Come work for us. You're a great guy. Genesis 6. All off a tooth. Man. Genesis 6. Let's go 5 through 9 and let's dance with the stars. What does the fossil record really provide evidence for? Go ahead, my brother.
And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart.
Now, the question I need to ask y'all is mankind naturally benevolent or naturally malevolent? That's pure and simple. This actually corroborates that. Mankind is not naturally benevolent. If mankind was naturally benevolent, we wouldn't have factories that make plastic bottles to put water in it that poisons us so we could throw it in a landfill and mess the earth up. Go ahead, my brother.
And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I've created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them.
Come on.
But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord.
Wait, hold up. Noah found grace. You got to say it like Joseph Prince, grace. He found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Wait, I thought grace only came in the New Testament. Why are we reading about grace right here? So I guess grace ain't really a new concept, huh? Well, let's see why he found grace in the Lord's eyes. Verse 9, brother.
These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God.
That's why he found grace. Skip down to verse 11. Go ahead, brother.
The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence.
Question, does that sound like right now? Today. What's cracking out there? Verse 12.
And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth.
Just some flesh.
All flesh.
Verse 13.
And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come. The end of all flesh is come before me. For the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth.
This is the Lord, right? This is God talking about he going to kill everybody because they're not doing what he says to do, right? On the planet that he created, right? So these are people he created on the planet he's created doing what they want to do. So he's kind of justified to kill everybody, right? He's God. He made everybody. He made the earth. Verse 14. Go ahead, brother.
Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch.
Now, I omitted all the information I found on Noah's Ark, the dimensions of it. I will tell you this. Noah's Ark was 2 football fields large, okay? That's how big Noah's Ark was. It was actually approximately 300 Egyptian cubits, okay? But I digress. I omitted that. Verse 17, brother. Go ahead.
And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh.
Some flesh.
All flesh.
Just the dudes on the northern hemisphere.
All flesh.
Come on.
Wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die.
Everything. Come on.
But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee.
Skip down to verse 22. Go ahead, brother.
Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he.
Let's go directly into Genesis 7. Let's start reading at verse 1. We're going 1 through 24. Again, what does the fossil record really corroborate? Does it corroborate descent with modification? Does it corroborate one animal or one kind turning into a completely different animal? Or does it corroborate something completely different? We shall see. Genesis 7, 1 through 24. Go ahead, my brother.
And the Lord said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteousness before me in this generation.
So Noah got saved because of his righteousness. So if we are righteous, then I guess we should probably expect to have a reward of redemption also. Noah was redeemed from death, certain death. Get the, you see the correlation here? Some thumbs? No? Yes? Maybe? Couple of thumbs. I like that. Go ahead, my brother.
Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of the beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female.
Wait, hold up. I thought it just said, the story I was told was it was just 2 by 2, but here I see clean beasts. Now, what's a clean beast? I need to figure that out. Well, that's beyond the scope of this lesson, but there's a dietary loss. Hang around, you'll learn about it. There's beasts that you can eat and cannot eat. And God instructed Noah to bring beasts you can eat and beasts you can't eat on the ark. Verse 3, brother.
Fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth.
Come on.
For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth.
Now, I was watching a debate. This is funny. Slight tangent. I'm watching a debate. This scientist, he's really intelligent. Well, if it actually rained for 40 days and 40 nights, rain, when it is done, creates a heat. So the actual temperature of the water would have been 900 degrees Celsius. It's preposterous. I ain't never felt no hot rain when it's raining. I mean, I can observe that. You dig? Verse 5, brother. Go ahead.
And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him.
Just some of it.
All.
Come on.
And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of the waters was upon the earth.
Come on.
And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him into the ark because of the waters of the flood.
They're getting away from flood waters. Go ahead, brother.
Of clean beasts, and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth.
Come on.
There went in two unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah.
Stop. See, that's why I got a problem with this story. How you got these lions and these leopards up in the boat, and they would have ate them and killed everybody, right? Well, if you remember in Genesis, they were all herbivores. They weren't eating meat. After this, then they was eating meat. But that was after they landed. Noah did what he did, and he gave meat to the beasts of the field and human beings. Prior to this, man, they just eating hay or alfalfa or whatever. They are eating vegetables. They are herbivores. So you can kick it up in a boat with some herbivores. You ain't got a problem as long as you got enough food to feed everybody, right? Verse 10, go ahead, brother.
And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth.
Wait, hold up. Did that just say they was in the ark 7 days chilling, waiting for the water to come? No. I know his wife was like, so, what's going on here? Are you for real? Verse 11, go ahead, brother.
In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of the heaven were open.
Read verse 11 again, please.
In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, in the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of the heaven were open.
So you're getting water from two ways. You're getting the oceans overflowing, and you're getting water coming down on top of you. This is a deluge, if you will. Verse 12, my brother.
And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights.
Come on.
In the self same day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark.
Come on.
They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort.
So God is like, bring all this stuff, because I ain't creating all this stuff over again. I want you to bring what I tell you to bring on this boat. Now, did he bring full-grown tigers or full-grown stuff? Who knows? I'm thinking maybe he brought some teenagers and some babies and, to kind of stretch it out. Besides their lifespans, they would have to live a little bit longer. So why bring a big, full-grown, mad old tiger, right? But that's just me postulating. It's not, I can't read it, dudes. All right? Don't get mad at me. Go ahead, bro.
And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life.
Come on.
And they that went in male and female of flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in.
Who shut him in?
The Lord.
So the Lord closed the door and sealed them inside the ark. I want y'all to understand that too. The Lord shut them in. Go ahead, brother.
And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lift up above the earth.
So now the ark is floating on these waters, these flood waters. Go ahead, brother.
And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth. And the ark went upon the face of the waters.
Come on.
And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth. And all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered.
Come on.
15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered.
Remember when he talked about the mountains were covered? Well, that's what he was talking about in Psalms. Go ahead, brother.
And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle and of beasts and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man.
Come on.
All in whose nostrils was the breath of life of all that was in the dry land died.
Breath of life is also a form of the spirit, but that's beyond the scope of this lesson. Go ahead, bro.
And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven. And they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark.
Come on.
And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days.
So after it rained 40 days and 40 nights, the water was on the earth 150 additional days. Now, the question you should be asking yourself is, why are we reading about the flood? I thought we were talking about fossils. What's the flood got to do with fossils? Well, you got a fossil reference, don't you? Go to your fossil reference. Let's reference a fossil graveyard. This one right here, fossil graveyards. Y'all got this one? I want y'all to read along with my main man, Albert, please.
Right here?
Nope,
Yeah,
right
okay.
here.
Where we at the top?
There,
Okay.
there, and there. You'll see. Fossil graveyard. Pull your references out. Don't believe me. Go ahead, brother.
Perhaps the most challenging fossil phenomena for Darwinian apologists to explain are the vast graveyards of animal remains that are found throughout the world.
Stop. Wait, what did I just say? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Ongoing excavations in the Gobi Desert tell of one such site that has become an embarrassment to evolutionists.
Stop. This is in the Gobi Desert. Just so we're clear, it's in the middle of a desert. Go ahead, bro.
25 theropod dinosaurs have been discovered along with 200 skulls of mammals.
Wait, what? Some dinosaurs and some regular mammals? What are we talking about? Go ahead, brother.
There is no evidence of the several million year evolutionary gap or of the Indium boundary that is thought to delineate when the dinosaurs became extinct.
So there isn't this gigantic millions of years ago and dinosaurs and then there were humans. No. Millions of years ago, then dinosaurs and then there were cows, and no. They're all in the same place in the Gobi Desert. Dinosaurs and regular mammals. Go ahead, my brother.
Nor down here.
Yep, verse 2. Skip down to, there you go.
Nor is the Gobi unique. Joe Taylor is perhaps the world's premier creator of fossil casts.
So this guy, for a living, takes fossils, make casts, and go to museums, and they reconstruct dinosaurs off of his casts. So he's kind of an authority on dinosaurs and fossils. Go ahead, my brother.
Casts for museums and universities.
Come on.
In his fascinating book, Fossils, Facts, and Fantasies, he analyzes several of these sites around the world.
Around the what?
The world.
So there's these massive graveyard sites around the world. Go ahead, brother.
In the United States, one finds a profusion of skeletons in a hillside dinosaur graveyard in New Mexico.
So we got a dinosaur graveyard in New Mexico. Go ahead.
In the famous Bone Cabin Quarry of Wyoming, and at other sites. In Alberta, Canada, there is a huge graveyard that stretches for hundreds of miles and holds innumerable dinosaur bones.
Come on.
In Agate Springs, Nebraska, a fossil graveyard
Now this is Nebraska, mind you. Go ahead.
of around 9,000 animals was
Stop. In Nebraska, they have a fossil graveyard that has 9,000 animals. Okay, go ahead.
found buried in alluvial deposits.
Come on.
The remains of hundreds of rhinos, three-toed horses, camels, giant wild boars, birds, plants, trees, seashells, and fish are mixed and intermingled in great confusion.
Stop. What are fish doing in the same place with camels, in the same place with rhinoceros, in the same place with boars? These are animals that are in different ecological systems. Why are they all in one place? Why? Go ahead, my brother.
In Tanzania,
In Tanzania, come on.
Belgium, and Mongolia,
Come on.
similar massive catastrophes captured vast populations and trapped them in a fossil graveyard of sediments and debris.
A colossal graveyard of sediments and debris. Interesting. Go ahead, my brother.
One of the most fascinating fossil graveyard of all is located in the southern United States.
Wait a minute. The most fascinating fossil graveyard is in the U.S. Go ahead.
The Ashley Beds is an enormous phosphate graveyard that contains mixed remains of man with land and sea animals, notably dinosaurs.
Stop. What did you just say? Read that again, please.
The Ashley Beds is an enormous phosphate graveyard that contains mixed remains of man with land and sea animals, notably dinosaurs, plesiosaurs, whales, sharks, rhinos, horses, mastodons, mammoths, porpoises, elephants, deer, pigs, dogs, and sheep.
Why are all these things in one place in Carolina? Why do you got mammoths with sheep, with dogs, with man, with dinosaurs in a fossil record? What's going on here? What is happening? Go ahead, my brother. Right there.
Okay, Professor?
Yeah, professor.
Okay. Professor F.S. Holmes, paleontologist.
Paleontologist. Go
and
ahead.
curator of the College of Charleston's Natural History Museum.
Come on.
Described the fossil graveyard in a report to the Academy of Natural Sciences. Remains of the hog, the horse, and other animals of recent date, together with human bones, mingled with the bones of the mastodon and extinct gigantic lizards. There can be little doubt what extinct gigantic lizard he referenced, for he pictured a Hadrosaurus on the front of his 1870 book, The Phosphate, what is that? Rocks of South, Phosphate Rocks of South Carolinas, and captioned it, Skeleton of a Fossil Lizard 18 feet in length.
Stop. A lizard 18 feet in length with pigs, horses, mastodons, human beings, sheep, and deer all in one place. And these are animals that are in completely different places. You just point. There's some deers over there. There's some mastodons and woolly mammoths up in, Alaska and such. How they all wind up in North Carolina? Go ahead, brother.
Moreover, on page 31, he wrote, it was in this post.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Skip all the way down to this.
Okay. Only a catastrophic operating on the scale of the Genesis flood will be sufficient to account for this.
Read that again, please.
Only a catastrophic operating on the scale of the Genesis flood will be sufficient to account for this.
Only a catastrophe like the Genesis flood that we just read that said all living animals on the earth were killed could account for dissimilar animals in dissimilar ecological states all in one place. Not to mention humans with dinosaurs. Looks like we've been fibbed on. Somebody told us a lie. All right, I hear what you're saying, Font. That was kind of compelling. What else you got? Well, let's get the definition of sedimentary rock. Why are all the fossils in sedimentary rock? What's so special about sedimentary rock? Go to your definitions. Your handout sheet. Definition: sedimentary rock. Verse 7. Reference 7. Go ahead, my brother.
Sedimentary rock. Rock that has formed through the deposition and solidification of sediment, especially sediment transported by water, rivers, lakes, and oceans, ice, glaciers, and wind. Sedimentary rocks are often deposited in layers and frequently contain fossils.
Read that note.
Limestone and shale are common sedimentary rocks.
Well, maybe the animals, it was a tornado, right? Because, wind can make the sedimentary deposits too. Maybe it picked up the mastodon, blew it to, no, it's a flood. That's how they got there. They drowned and got buried by sedimentary rock. What we just read in the Bible. Light bulbs? Any? Couple of light bulbs? Tough crowd. Is this thing on? Whew. Don't know what Israel needs up here. Now, okay, that's fine. So I'll bite that. They got fossil graveyards with dissimilar animals in different places. But what is it, from an evolutionary standpoint, what does that tell me about the fossil record? Well, let's go ahead and break this other book right out here again. Page 50. You remember our good friend Stephen Jay Gould, the paleontologist, professor of geology at Harvard? Let's see what he has to say about the fossil record and Darwinian evolution. Start right there. I got the start and the stops, bro. Again, this is Stephen Jay Gould, professor of geology at Harvard, and an ardent, vehement evolutionist. He loved Darwin. He was a neo-Darwinistic paleontologist. He came up with a different theory to kind of explain what he's trying to get out of right here. Go ahead, brother.
The fossil record was revisited in the 1970s. In works by Stephan proposed a new theory called punctuated equilibrium.
Right. Go ahead.
Punk-eq to the irreverent.
Yes.
To deal with an embarrassing fact.
With a what fact?
Embarrassing.
So this is an embarrassing fact to the evolutionists. Go ahead.
The fossil record today, on the whole, looks very much as it did in 1859, despite the fact that an enormous amount of fossil hunting has gone on in the intervening years. In the words of Gould, the history of most fossil species includes two features particularly inconsistent with gradualism.
So gradualism is Darwinian evolution, which means change, slow change over billions and billions of years. That's what that means, right? Anytime you say billions, you got to have the English voice. Billions of years. But what the fossil record says ain't what they trying to sell you. What does the fossil record say, brother?
The history of most fossil species includes two features particularly inconsistent with gradualism.
So these are the two embarrassing facts of the fossil record as it relates to Darwinian evolution. Go ahead.
Stasis. Most species exhibit no directional change during their tenure on Earth.
So let's stop and soak that in. Stasis. In other words, when you see them, they don't turn from a pig to a goat. A cow doesn't turn from a cow to a bird. When you see them in the fossil records, they still cows. They still look like cows and turtles and snakes and all that other stuff. That's called stasis. That is proven by the fossil record. You know those fossils that got deposited from a flood? That stuff. Go ahead, my brother.
They appear in the fossil record looking pretty much the same as when they disappear. Morphological change is usually limited and directionless.
So in other words, it may have some variations by how much claw space or how their bone density was, but they still turtles. They're still cats. They still wild boars. It's not a boar dog cow vulture. You don't see that. Whoa, I see a boar that looks like it has a wing, that looks like it has a big stomach and some udders, and all of a sudden, no, it's a boar. Looks like modern day boars. That's called stasis. That's in the fossil record, okay? The evolutionists love the fossil record, but they mad at stasis because it disproves gradualism. That's why Gould had to come up with punctuated equilibrium. But I omitted that because it was kind of like, phoom. But anyway, go ahead, brother.
Sudden appearance. In any local area, a species does not arise gradually by the steady transformation of its ancestors.
So we got stasis and sudden appearance. In other words, you hit a fossil deposit, it's got some, what were those little things called? Trilobites or something like that. It's got those in it, and then you look over some other fossils, it's got some cows. It's just sudden appearance of cows and birds and etc. Not a gradual thing. Again, when they show up, they still look like cows. Prior to them showing up, there was no link to them showing up. Nothing that you can anticipate or make a scientific prediction. You know, science, you have to observe things and you can make predictions based off of it. The fossil record says when you see a bird just comes out of nowhere and it still looks like a bird. It ain't got udders like a cow. It's not a bow? A bow. Go ahead, brother.
It appears all at once and fully formed.
Sudden appearance. Read sudden appearance again. Go ahead, bro.
In any local area, a species does not arise gradually by the steady transformation of its ancestors. It appears all at once and fully formed. Go on.
skip over to, yeah, keep going. I'm sorry.
In short, if evolution means the gradual change of one kind of organism into another kind,
That's why they have to redefine it every once in a while, because that is pure Darwinian evolution. That's pure Darwinian evolution. Go ahead, my brother.
the outstanding characteristic of the fossil record is the absence of evidence for evolution.
Come on.
Darwinists can always explain away the sudden appearance of new species by saying that the transitional intermediates were for some reason not fossilized.
See, the cow, the bow, before it became a bird, bow cow, see the little part where it had the udders and the wings, see that died or got ate. So it wasn't in the fossil record, but we got this cow. That's what he's basically saying. Go ahead, brother.
But stasis, the consistent absence of fundamental directional change, is positively documented.
Hit them with stasis when they try to hit you with the fossil record. What about stasis? What about sudden appearance? Hit them with that. They're not expecting y'all to say that. They are not expecting you to use your brains. Go ahead, my brother.
It is also the norm and not the exception.
Come on.
According to Stephen Stanley, the Bighorn Basin in Wyoming contains a continuous local record of fossil deposits for about 5 million years.
Come on.
During an early period in the age of mammals. Because this record is so complete, paleontologists assume that certain populations of the basin could be linked together to illustrate continuous evolution.
But what happened?
On the contrary, species that were once thought to have turned into others turn out to overlap in time with their alleged descendants.
So basically what he's saying is, you got a theory of a bird, cow, or a bow, right? See, first it was a bird. Then billions of years ago, it turned into a bow. But in this sedimentary rock, you got birds and cows overlapping. So there's no way to say that this is the transition into a bow when you got a fully formed bird and a fully formed cow. There is no transition. There is no missing link. You see both of them right there in the fossil record. You know, fossils, that stuff that comes from water, transmitted through sedimentary rock. Right, that stuff. Go ahead, my brother.
And the fossil record does not convincingly document a single transition from one species to another.
Stop. Read that again, please.
And the fossil record does not convincingly document a single transition from one species to another.
Not at all. But I found this tooth, though. Go ahead, brother.
In addition, species remain fundamentally unchanged for an average of more than 1 million years before disappearing from the record.
Come on.
Stanley uses the example of the bat and the whale, which are supposed to have evolved from a common mammalian ancestor in little more than 10 million years.
10 million years. Go ahead.
To illustrate the insuperable problem that fossil stasis poses for Darwinian gradualism.
Let's skip over to 52. Turn the page to 52. Again, stasis, sudden appearance. Once they appear, they stay that way. Right.
Where are
Wait, hold on. Let me see. No, I'm done.
Okay.
Wait. Am I done? 3 in the morning, y'all. 3 in the morning. Nope. I'm done. So, the fossil record hasn't shown numerous reliable transitional body types changing from one kind of animal into a totally different kind of animal. It does, however, show complex animals appearing suddenly and remain virtually unchanged while their appearance corresponds to their modern ancestors. In other words, a cow back then looked like a cow right now. The global fossil record does show mass graveyards containing the remains of thousands of animals from different ecological systems, and in some cases, humans. These life forms were suddenly drowned and buried by sedimentary rock. So the question now you got to ask yourself is, what's the point of evolution? What is it? Well, you got the reference for it? No, I don't think you got the reference for it. Read this. Albert, matter of fact, I'll read it. I didn't put it on your references. I have the quotes here and the person who said it. Fact check, don't believe what I'm telling you. This scientist, who is a physicist, took a look at evolution, and this is what he came up with. He said evolution became, in a sense, a scientific religion. Almost all scientists have accepted it, and many are prepared to bend their observations to fit with it. So if you can remove God from being the party responsible for human existence, if you can convince humans that our lives and existence has no special purpose except to survive by any and every means available, if you can convince humans that we're just a higher form of animals, how does that affect your mindset or that person's mindset and their view of the world and their fellow human? How does one determine what is moral and immoral if there is no divine, concrete, unchangeable rules? I'm going to show you what happens. The world becomes this. Go to Romans 1. Back to the book. Y'all with me? Y'all feel like y'all can deal with some evolutionists if they try to come at you? The contrail. Romans 1. You remove God out of the equation. You tell human beings you ain't nothing but a higher form of an animal and you're supposed to survive at any given, at all costs. This is what happens to the world, Jack. And this is also how I know the Bible is true, because I can read this, I can walk outside that door, and I can look around. Romans 1, read verse 21, and we're going to dance with the stars. Go ahead, brother.
Because that, when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but because became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened.
Skip to 25. Go ahead, brother.
Who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen.
Who changed the truth of God into a lie and worships the creature or the creation more than the Creator. Skip down to verse 28, brother.
And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient.
If you remove God out of the equation and you allow human beings to determine what is right and what is wrong, not based on immutable, concrete, written, divine facts, this is what you find. Go ahead, brother.
Being filled with all unrighteousness.
Some unrighteousness.
All unrighteousness.
Come on.
Fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers.
Now, does that sound like the Bible is a fairy tale, or does it sound like it's spot on? Go ahead, brother.
Backbiters, haters of God.
Haters of who?
God.
Come on.
Despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents.
Come on, brother.
Without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them.
Now let's go to Job 21. This is what the so-called enlightened person will say. I don't need God. God, we have science. Yeah, I don't have a problem with science. Science saved my life when I had a pulmonary embolism. I don't got a problem with science. I got a problem with you telling me my great-great-grandfather was a tree. That's the problem I got, okay? This is what enlightened people will tell you. Job 21. Job 21, 7 through 15. Job 21, 7 through 15. Go ahead, brother.
Wherefore do the wicked live, become old, yea, are mighty in power. Their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes.
Come on.
Their houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of God upon them.
Wait, the wicked's houses are safe from fear and God's not dealing with them? Yeah, that's what the book is saying. Go ahead.
Their bull gingereth, and faileth not. Their cow calveth, and casteth not her calf.
Come on.
They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance.
Come on.
They take the timbrel and the harp, and rejoice at the sound of the organ.
They're having a great time. Not a problem in their house. They got plenty of everything. Not saying having things is wrong, but I'm saying if your trust is in those things, and those things define who you are, that's not what it's supposed to be. Your life is not what you have. Go ahead, my brother.
They spend their days in wealth.
In poverty.
In wealth.
Come on.
And in a moment go down to the grave.
They had a great old time the whole time. Go ahead.
Therefore they say unto God, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy
Read
ways.
14 again, please.
Therefore they say unto God, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways.
Come on.
What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray unto him?
Well, I'm going to show you what the profit is if you pray unto him. This is the message of the God of Israel to all, including the atheists, including the evolutionists. Psalm 86, one verse, verse 5. Verse 5. What profit we if we pray unto God? Well, if you realize that you've been doing some crazy stuff your whole life, and you turn and you pray unto God, this is the profit. This is the profit. Go ahead, my brother.
For thou, Lord, art good and ready to forgive.
Ready to condemn.
To forgive.
Ready to kill you all the time.
To forgive.
Sitting up in heaven trying to figure out ways to kill you.
To forgive.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And plenteous in mercy unto all them that call upon thee.
In conclusion, read your Bible, pray for understanding, and keep yourself from sin. And I hope you got some understanding.